Ladies and gentlemen, let me call on Ms. Minette Ame as she introduces our today's guest speaker.
Our guest speaker is a former runway, print, and commercial model for projects such as American Standard, Wella International, Sunsilk, Taiwan, Coca-Cola Vietnam, Emporio Armani, Louis Vuitton, and MasterCard, among others. She co-hosted Philippine celebrity talk show Oh No It's Johnny from 1997 to 1999. Also, a PRC licensed real estate broker from 2006 to present. Ang ating speaker ay hindi lang beauty, isa rin siyang brains dahil siya isang cum laude graduate of Bachelor of Arts, major in Communication Arts from the University of Santo Tomas. Her extensive travel overseas in Asia, North and South America has helped shape her diplomatic experience as well as her sales work exposure with BMW Philippines from 2005 to 2007, handling the expatriate market. She's an alumna of John Robert Powers International and has been its active consultant at the school for 16 years, making her areas of expertise fit for one-on-one coaching, group training, and corporate image. She's a certified image consultant and at present also a member of the Association of Image Consultants International, or AICI. In 2011, her company Enhance Your Image Training Consultancy was also formally established. Last 2016, we've added another accomplishment, being the first image consultant to be the Institute of Image Training and Testing International Associate for the Republic of the Philippines, with the pioneer batch passing the international exams last 31st of August 2016. Our speaker's mantra is, image naturally exists in each person. Underneath the surface, with the right knowledge and proper training, one can learn to believe and discover the true value within. This once brought outward will certainly exhibit a most beautiful individual. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow ACPAP, it is with great pride that I introduce to you our guest speaker, Miss Carolina D. Tan.
Who among you believes today that he or she is successful? How many hands? Let me do a countdown. Thank you so much for those who raised their hands. And who among you here today would like to have an easy and breeze through success by capitalizing on your personal brand? Wonderful. So why don't we give ourselves a big hand for those who actually raised their hands and basically said yes and acknowledged those two questions. I'm sure we pretty much like the image consulting and at the same time the real estate industry, we do have deadlines, we do have a lot of pressures, and so much more. It is my privilege to face you today and looking forward to what's in store. So like me, are you ready to proceed? Yes. Thank you. So I hope you won't mind me going around, because as much as possible, we want to be as interactive as possible, because I feel that when I'm here, it would take a while to be able to get the message across, especially to those at the back. So looking at what we have today, personal branding, I'm pretty sure you've already seen the email blast that was sent out, and it says clearly, in this short session, we are supposed to learn 3 things. The first question being, who are you? Perhaps it's high time that we actually give each one a piece of the post-it. So if you can have that distributed, please. So who are you? I'm pretty sure all of us have a clue already as to what's in store, especially with this question posted on screen. So for the next 30 seconds, call it a seat work if you want, to start off our day. How would you define and let others know who you are. 30 seconds. Our time begins now. Of course, our statement can clearly begin with I am. Our I am statement, okay? I am blank. So the world is yours. What do you want to write on it? Feel free to do so, because this is our time to let everybody know who we are. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time is up. Will you please make a round table passing of those post-its? So please pass it around, in other words, but make sure it at least has your nickname, so people would know who is who. So for the next 30 seconds, please take a look at what's written on the piece of paper and look at the individual as you are actually reading it out loud. So at least for the next 30 seconds, we will all be like busy bees. Reading out loud what was on paper. Klaro po ba, everyone? And as a follow-through question, do you personally agree with what was written on the post-it? Aha. Do you know that there's actually a difference between just saying yes and how we sound? Because after all, how we sound, that has to do with the vocal component of image. And a lot of times how we sound may not jive with what we actually say and who we truly are. But of course, I give you the benefit of the doubt, so why don't you give yourselves a big round of applause? So that's your I am statements. To move further, we all begin somewhere. So pretty much yours truly has drawn from what I call my collection or my album of life experiences. This began way back, and it was my first magazine cover when I turned 18 years old. See, God has its own way of blessing people, and at the time, I did have the privilege to actually have a grand 18th birthday party, like what most women or ladies would perhaps want as they come of age. But in my case, I just treasure and I embrace this, and I'm very grateful as it is. So pretty much with all the other projects that came in, I've been privileged to also co-host with Mr. Johnny Litton for his show Oh No It's Johnny for 2 years. And doing projects such as the one for LV, Emporio Armani, MasterCard, those are just some of the international brands that we are aware of. But not to mention that I've also graced local magazine covers and also did some endorsements for a local product. So what's the goal here? All of us begin somewhere. And all of us who are here in this room today certainly would know that who we are today matters, because what we do from today onwards will determine where life will take us. Do you believe that? Just to share a bit, EYI, Enhance Your Image, as part of our company trade name. Believe it or not, it may look so simple. 2 small concaves, right? Looking at the smaller one inside, it has to do with one's inner image. Something that people do not see from the surface, but we all know exists deep inside. And with that comes the bigger outer concave, which is representative of our outer image, so to speak. Because believe it or not, the visual component of image also matter. It's not just how we say things or how we sound, but more so how we look also matter. So as a challenge, ACPA, as professionals, how do you think should we spell the look of success? Would you like me to give you some pointers? Let's do a simple 10-point rundown. Do you have a clue as to what I'm referring to? I'm sure you've all embraced numbers. Perhaps you may even be dreaming of it in your sleep, right? Because we love our profession so much. So at this point in time, and I know that the lunch is over, so why don't we take this chance to kindly rise and stand up for a moment. as we do our 10-point rundown. So what does it mean to actually do a 10-point rundown? So of course, we need you to be totally honest and at the same time to be tuned in to yourself. So give yourself 1 point. If, okay? Looking at your hairstyle today, by the way, at this point in time, at this point in time, since we're doing a rundown of and a personal assessment of self, okay lang po to bring out a pocket mirror, okay? So we're looking at your cell phones. If you need to see your reflection, okay lang. So it's not vanity, believe me, because we are trying to drive at the point. So number 1, if you think your hair is well kept and fixed, give yourself 1 point. 1 point, right? So what's the goal of the 10-point rundown? Right? Okay, so 1 point. Nag-a-add na ba? So kaya-kaya niyan, okay? So second would be, for the ladies, are you wearing some colors or a bit of makeup? Remember, we are not doing photo shoots here, nor are we appearing on cinema or television. Simple makeup. After all, it's still daytime, okay? For the men, as long as you don't shine on your face. It's okay to stand out and shine as part of our tagline, but not on the face, okay? So for the men, as long as you do not look oily on the face, give yourself 1 point for that. For accessories, give yourself 1 point for every accessory that you are wearing. What are examples of accessories? Remember, we're talking of the visual part of image, which is the first V, right? Earrings. I don't expect the men, by the way, to actually be wearing earrings because we love our profession and we deserve to be well respected. So ladies, as an example, earrings would be one, necklace would be another. What about watch, gentlemen? I can see a lot of you wearing your favorite watch. So be it a dress watch or a leather band watch, give yourself another point for that. Tops and bottoms, give yourself 1 point, separate credit for such. If you are wearing a blazer or an overcoat, add another 1 point to that for the men. So how many points have you got so far? We are just on the top part, right? So for the men, are you wearing a belt? That's also considered an accessory, right? And looking at your footwear or your shoes, does it look impeccably clean? I hope we are not cleaning the floor with the shoes, okay? But it looks neat as it is. Believe it or not, people do look down on our feet. So give yourself another point for that. And maybe in your mind, it's like, how do I reach 10 points with this? 1, 1, 1, 1, parang kulang, short. If you happen to be wearing something printed, give yourself 2 points for that. Printed, come on. Anything with a print. So whether it's a plaid, whether it's like a diagonal print, whether it's stripes, whether it's animal print, or like whether it would be paisley, floral, okay, so give yourself another point for that. For the ladies who happen to be wearing a one-piece dress, that's already 2 points. Of course, yes, that's already 2 points. And for the men, of course, trousers, that's another point. And needless to say, we do not leave the house or the office empty-handed. So what does that mean? Do you even have a bag with you? So whether it's a laptop bag or your lady's bag, or for the men, I do not know what type of bags you do carry with you. If you have one, or a briefcase, definitely. The mark of a well-groomed and a professional-looking gentleman is somebody who's actually well-kept in appearance from head to toe and knows where to place essentials. And believe me, men, essentials does not mean you keep it all in your pockets. That would add bulk, where it should not be. Okay, so adding all of those, everyone, okay? Will you please just do a short tally? Who among you here has got a 10? Minimum of 10 points. Maiwan pong nakatayo ang nag-score ng 10. Minimum, okay? So for those who did not, you can take your seats. Inad niyo po ba? That's just a simple 10-point rundown. Did you even add? Oh! You were supposed to add all of those. So pointers. Instead of showing you bullet points from the PowerPoint, I just thought of saying out loud. Does it make sense? So what do we learn from this short 10-point rundown. What does it mean? Before we leave the house, what is the last thing that we ought to do? Very good. Okay, so looking at the mirror, at hindi lang pwedeng face, as much as possible, to be able to see all of you, you might as well do so from head to toe. I hope that sticks because it may be a simple 10-point rundown. That's the easiest way to do a visual check. And chances are when the visual statement says, I am a winner, it only goes to show that we are ready to face our day. So the goal is to always have 10 points. Don't overdo it. Who wants to look at somebody with 20 points? That would be a headache for the eyes, right? So don't overdo it. 10 points, minimum. So the reason why we established minimums is because we also have a profession to protect and an industry to uphold. So, personal branding today, we limit it to 3. If in our company as an image consultant, we are positive advocates of appearance, behavior, and communication, for personal branding, we also want to be able to share the ABCs. Number 1, what does it say? I hope it's readable up to the end. It says, for the first A, appear credible. So how do we appear credible? Again, this has to do with the visual aspect of image because no matter what the substance, no matter how much we know, a lot of times people may not be willing to listen, not unless we do so with a positive presence. As a simple question, gentlemen and ladies, let me just ask, how long does it take you to do your personal hygiene and grooming routine in the morning before you leave the house? I believe we have different answers here, right? I heard 15 minutes. Sir, 15 minutes?
My wife takes 1.5 hours.
Oh, wow. Is your spouse here with us today, sir? Okay. So it's revelation time. I'm sure the answer between men and ladies would definitely be quite different, right? I believe for the men, in general, most of the answers would be 30 minutes and under. Would you agree?
Yes.
30 minutes and under. So whether you actually include the actual showering to basically like wearing your clothes for the day, like splashing on a bit of your favorite scent to make sure that you actually smell fresh. Because smelling good is part of hygiene. We may be in the tropics, and just yesterday, we could be high-ups in the 30s. I feel like literally being fried, being at home, and doing some work for properties and being at Antipolo City yesterday. So that's how warm it felt. But for the men, usually that's 30 minutes and under. What about for the ladies? What is the usual answer here when it comes to appear credible? So how long does it take us to fix up and to get ready in the morning? Would you say minimum of 30 minutes and up? I think more like 45 minutes to an hour. Won't you agree? Because why? Somehow it takes us longer to do things. Whether you are the type who shampoos your hair every morning, whether you are meticulous in putting on makeup, but still putting on makeup will take at least 5 to 10 minutes. Because definitely we don't agree to putting makeup while driving, right? So that would not be a positive thing to do. To getting dressed, to doing our hygiene routine, and some of us may even have what? 3, 5, 7 types, or in other words, types of facial routine in the morning before we even get ready. So this actually goes on and on and on. What's the goal here? Appearing credible does not simply mean that we actually wear a vanity hat and basically be dressed to impress. Of course, getting dressed to impress is part of it. It's the first step to make people look at us. It's the first step to capture people's attention, to be worth their while and time. And once we appear credible, what is next? Looking at our clothes. And just mentioning to Miss Marifi earlier, I basically was thinking earlier, I wonder what is the typical mode of dressing for the group of ACPAP. And I was thinking, I don't think I would see all men and women in structured traditional business suits. So I also not dare come in a matching business suit because that would be, that would be too warm. And not only that, it would seem so formal. So looking at the majority today, I would say, agree with me or not, I believe the common norm here is business casual. Business casual? We all agree? Yes. With the exception of a few who may actually want to be more like semi-formal or formal in their business dress. But if that is how we conduct the business and that is how we present ourselves on a day-to-day basis, then by all means go. Embrace our own uniqueness. Being powerful in our message, wearing business casual. And I believe for the ladies, as long as we are not wearing slippers or open-toed flat sandals, we are okay, right? And on the right track. Because Philippine setting dictates comfort, we value comfort, right? And apart from valuing comfort, we want mobility of movement. Who wants to do field work and literally be sweating under the heat of the sun, being so constricted with your clothes and can hardly breathe? I don't think anyone would want that. Are we aware that clothes also make a statement? So looking at your colleagues right now, within your respective tables, what one particular adjective would you attach to your colleague's nickname to describe him or her today? Again, it's a point of discussion. Just one adjective. If you want to challenge yourself further, make that one adjective begin with the same letter as the nickname of your colleague. Can we do that? After all, how many are we per table? Just a few people. So feel free to look at the person beside you or across you, as long as the person, he or she, is within your table, and be able to vocalize how you want to describe that person. So whether it is polished Pauline, example, okay, or dignified Danny. Does it sound so much better to actually vocalize something, to positively affirm and compliment another person using that adjective? Everyone, I give you 30 seconds to do that. Let's participate and give this to our colleagues. And for the ones who heard those descriptions, I want you to remember it. You know why? Because after the 30 seconds is over, we want you to do a shout out. So what would be the shout out, okay? As an example, I can easily say, I am Candid Carol. No scripts, I'm not holding anything, nor reading anything. It's just PowerPoint, and I'm just talking to you. So if I am Candid Carol, who are you? Why don't I go to the back to be able to do this, right? Because the second part of image has to do with the vocal part. So we need to be able to hear you, don't you think? So taking advantage of the floor space that we have, why don't I begin at the back side? So everyone, how are you going to describe yourself? And this is not tooting your own horn, you know why? Because somebody else said this description for you. Your job right now would be to vocalize it and make it known to everybody. Are we clear on this, everyone? May we hear at our last group here at the back? Fabulous Floyd, and you are Floyd, sir, right? No, you're supposed to say and vocalize the adjective that was said to you. Let's try it from this side, okay? Yeah, so what are the descriptions that we have from this group, ma'am? Gorgeous Grace. Next. Vocal, part of image, and we are mom and silent. Anyone who wants to shout it out? A lot of times, it's a cultural thing when we don't enunciate and vocalize things. What about from this table? No need to raise hands, just shout it out. Whoever is ready, and we are hearing you. Wow. So all of us are saying things and pointing to the other. Why not own it? Say it to yourself, right? Say it to yourself. Yes, it should be for yourself. Because this is part of empowering one's image. Because imagine for a moment, if we are to project a professional and a successful image, and on the other hand, we have such difficulty saying a simple positive affirmation to ourselves, it would be so much harder to do the succeeding steps, right? All of us begin somewhere, and that somewhere begins today. Yes, beautiful Belle, lovely Liz. Who else? Jolly Jenny, wonderful. What about here? We have more men in this group, yes. Credible chess, sir. What about the one for you? We want you to vocalize and say it. Yes, the description for you. Generous George, we love it. Don't we love it from Generous George? Lovable Louie. Okay, what about here?
Dashing Donnies.
Wow.
Dashing Donnies.
Wow. Thank you. Charming Cindy. Exquisite. Yeah.
Marvelous Minette.
Marvelous Minette.
Appealing Anita.
Appealing Anita. Exceptional.
Efren.
Efren. Okay, there you go. Ladies, what about here?
Amazing, Marie.
Amazing Marifi. Yes, ma'am. Beaming Barbie, okay. Everyone, out of curiosity, let's test this for the second time around. Remember, the very first statement, it is a positive affirmation and an I am statement. Now that we've gone around the tables, we feel a bit apprehensive, we feel shy, you maybe felt as if you were put on the spot, that you were speechless, I don't know what's going on, or maybe you're thinking of the client for later, or for tomorrow of the deadline that's coming up. But I hope you will put that on hold for now. But as a whole, everyone, why don't we complete the statement, I am, and then I want you to shout it out to the top of your lungs. That amazing description that you've attached to your nickname. Own it. The moment we own it, we become it. So why don't we do that, everyone? And to make it so much better, inhaling and exhaling, taking note of our posture and the way we stand, it is best done in a standing position. So why don't we all rise, everyone, and basically just own it. I am, then fill it up with the description and your nickname. So since we are now collectively as a whole, as an entire group, I'm sure the shy ones or the apprehensive ones perhaps may not feel so much so because we are hearing everybody else. So are we ready, Akpap? Yes! This is just our second GA, right? From what I heard earlier, second? Yes, so second GA. So Akpap, are we ready? Yes! Claim it, own it, say it. I am? May I suggest something? When we say something, when we want it to be positive, when we want it to fill our senses, and when we want to believe it and claim it, we say it with the loudest tone of voice towards the end. Not diminuendo, but rather crescendo. Can we do that? Are we ready, Akpap? Yes! I am? Ba't parang narinig ko dito lang sa It's okay to make mistakes and to do a retake as long as that retake is done today. As long as when we do so and we feel it, it's going to be so much better. So last chance, ACPAP, I am? Give yourselves a big hand. Thank you so much. Maybe some of you are thinking, am I in a personal growth session? We can never put one element of image and just claim it to be the end of everything, because after all, it's not. And part of appearing credible also is how we basically act and how we basically look. So what's the point earlier? Most of us are just seated, but the moment we actually stood up, do you feel so much better the moment you stand? Because somehow there's more energy, there's more power, and not only that, we sound believable. So much better with the tone of our voice. And part of appearing credible is looking the part. Looking the part, right? So if that is the A, just to share, if you notice, the examples that I pulled out today and sharing are from personal experiences. So here, there is a quote that says, pitching in for a new client takes preparation and perfect timing. So this is one example wherein, as an image consultant, a lot of times I'm asked to present to a small group of people, decision makers from their departments, and do the pitching for a potential proposal and program thereafter. So that's one. So going to the B part of personal branding, keeping it simple, and as a review, what is A again? Appear credible. So what is the B part? The B part, it says here, build influence. So looking at this photo, build influence. Looking at matchsticks. By the way, we highly discourage smoking, huh? So, and I know nowadays using matches may not be as common, but what could be better than really making use of this illustration? Because the moment we build influence, others get affected. So now the greater question is, what have we been doing to build influence? What have we been doing to build influence? If there is one word that you can use to describe the profession where you are at, what do you think that would be? May I hear some examples? If nurses and doctors, the word that they frequently use is the word toxic, because they hardly sleep, right? It's a 24/7 round-the-clock thing when they're on duty and off duty, and sometimes it could last for days. I believe in your profession, hindi nagkakalayo, no? Hindi nagkakalayo. So when was the last time you slept for a good 8 to 10 hours? Is that already considered a luxury to be able to sleep 8 to 10 hours?
Yes. That's right.
Luxury, right? So, what one particular word can you cue us in to describe your particular situation today?
Hard.
Hard? Okay. Stressed, okay. How can we soften those words? The words hard and stressed. How can we make it more pleasant to the ears and translate it into positive? Perhaps challenging. Challenging. What about the word stressed?
Calorie burning.
Calorie burning. I love that, ma'am. Right? Calorie burning, right? I am in my calorie burning day today. Wow. So we are all learning something. And of course, I hope we have your permission to share it with everyone. So today, we have learned new words, right? So, and definitely when we say such, wow, it may actually make our client think, wow, what is my professional up to this time? Will he or she turn over materials or documents to me much earlier? Are we going to meet the deadline? Are we getting exceptions? etc. Okay. Kidding aside, everyone, building influence takes time. We all believe nothing is free. Not even our time. Because believe it or not, how many hours do we have in each day?
24.
Yes. I believe like we all do have the same 24 hours time. How come some people are accomplishing so much more with the same 24/7 day compared to some of us? Working smartly, thank you, sir. Ma'am? Managing time efficiently. Yes, sir?
Dividing your time into 3 halves.
Wow. Sir, correct me if I'm wrong, 3 halves, not houses, right? Or house. Okay, so 3 halves. Mahirap yun, right? Ah. It's like zoning your time and being focused to do one particular thing when you are at that particular moment. But sometimes, as what we say, a lot of things are easier said than done. Building influence takes time. Building influence takes practice. By the way, out of curiosity, since we are here today and it's ACPAP's General Assembly, which is a monthly event, like any other organization, I'm pretty sure there are rules and reminders for everybody. How many absences are actually allowed within a span of a year? Not strict about it, but as much as possible, I believe all members are encouraged to do attend.
Yes.
Because as iron sharpens iron, whenever we do attend, we also sharpen ourselves in the process. And once we get sharper, we end up influencing others and rubbing it off to them. Just to share, everyone, I was at our AICI Asia Conference in 2016 doing many things. Among the things I did was, I was in charge of interviewing image consultants from different parts of Asia. And just a reminder, my Chinese knowledge is limited to Hokkien. So it's Mandarin, I can only do a greeting and say ni hao and sheshe, that's it. But very challenging. But then again, we need to get things done. Apart from doing interviews, part of the job is to take important components of a particular event, and to be able to capture it on video and photos. So here it says, just to share, learning and making friends at international conferences is priceless. Pretty much like we are all here today. It's our monthly GA. It is also priceless. We can never replicate and duplicate exactly the same scenario just the way it is today. Do we believe that? So once we do believe that, the question now and the challenge to us is, how do we make use of this experience to build on our influence? Have you thought of that? How are we going to make use of today's learning sessions? You had the morning, and today, this afternoon's candid learning sessions. How are we going to make use of this to build on our influence? Points to think about, right? And lastly, to share the C component, if A has to do with appearing credible, if B has to do with building our influence, C has to do with creating community. What does it take to create community? Out of curiosity, once again, who among you have been in the profession for 5 years and less? May I see a show of hands? 5 years and less? So you could be in 5 years, 4 years, 3 years. Okay, 5 years or less? Konti lang, right? Who among you have been in the profession between 6 to 10 years? 6 to 10 years? A handful. Wow. Does that mean that we are privileged because we are in a room full of men and ladies who have been practicing the profession for at least 11 years and more?
Yes.
May we see you everyone who have been here in the profession for 11 years and more. We would like to acknowledge you by making sure that you actually stand up and that we can see you. Please remain standing, and for those of us who are seated, how do we show our utmost support to those who are standing? Would you like me to give you some tips as to the right way to clap? Do you know that there's a magic number when you actually do clapping? What is the magic number? Guess. After all, this is a numbers profession, right? Sige nga, manghula. No? No? Not 2, not 7, not 5, not 3, not 10. No? No? Yes. Ideally, there is. And we will be practicing it to show you and to prove to you why it is such. Anyone? Can anyone make a guess? Hindi naman masama manghula, no? Come on, think of a number, say something. Higher, a little higher, but close. Ang dami naman. Not 15, a little higher than 15, you're close to that. Lower than 20. Hindi pa rin 18. Very good. 17 is the number. 17 is the number. Wait a moment, everyone. So, 17 is the number. So, imagine how it sounds. Wait, For those who are standing, please don't clap. We just want you to listen. So, those of us who are seated, maraming nakaupo, right? You know, my eyes does not lie. Maraming nakaupo. Yes? Yes. For those who are actually seated, come on, let's give kudos and credit to those who've been in the industry 11 years and more. After all, they are our mentors. We are learning so much from each other. So we want to acknowledge them. How? By clapping and by acknowledging them with number 17. So why don't we all begin clapping except for the ones who are standing, and the magic word is 17. So why don't we begin? Baba ko lang po, no? Ready? Set, at least man lang participate, right? Ready, set, and go. Teka, bakit may labis? 17 lang, 17 palakpak, okay? So again, ulitin natin ha. So okay, wait. Let's all agree on this. Ready, set, and go. How does that sound to those who are standing? Marami, but you know, like, how does that make you feel? Does that make you feel acknowledged? So, it's a wonderful way to practice a simple affirmation by actually practicing that number. So now everyone, all together, including the ones who are standing, practice the number 17. Ready, set, and go. May sumobra, but you get the point, right? And it sounds so much better. Thank you so much, everyone. Please take your seats. Creating community has to do with building camaraderie. It has something to do with rapport and how we get along each other. So when we build positive energy in a group, in our association, that actually creates a ripple effect. And the next thing you know, everybody gets affected in a very wholesome and positive way. May I click the last few points? We were at our AICI Global Conference just last year, Mexico City. So, I happen to be here. So, on the right-hand side, 43 countries represented. And what's the point? Creating community, especially if it's a global environment, is never easy. Number one, there's language barrier, there's cultural differences, but what keeps everybody in tune and practicing harmony is that we all believe in our cause. We uphold the principles of the association, pretty much like what ACPAP is doing, and hearing you do your pledges earlier. So really, make it sound so much better. And not only that, it's a positive affirmation. Not only amongst yourselves, but more so when clients hear us. Because it is a blessed assurance that they are actually with the right people and the right group of professionals. So again, with that being said, may we do a simple recap. What are the ABCs of building a personal brand? Beginning with? Appear credible. Letter B? Build influence. And letter C? And I know that after today, as we throw that back to you, somehow a spark has already been lit up in your minds that to be able to create communities, we have to do our share. And that means the essence of contribution should never be taken for granted. Because what one person can do will end up being priceless in a sea of people. Sharing our Facebook page or our social media pages, and in doing one-on-one coaching, this is what we do. Likewise for group training. And so goes for corporate image. And for today, by the way, for today, and I'm sure somebody here will be helping us from the part of ACPAP, we are actually giving 20 pieces of coupons. And it says here for ACPAP GA, so that's 24th April 2018, that's for today. So this is a coupon that once you present, you can avail of a brand identity 90-minute consult at 50 off. It's a silver bowl, and we are giving out 20 coupons. Yes. Thank you very much, and congratulations to the 20 names. So now I believe we still have a little bit of time, and we open the floor for some questions. So anyone here who would like to ask some questions regarding what we have discussed today in the areas of personal branding and covering areas that have to do with appearance, behavior, or communication.
I will start po the
Yes po,
question.
yes ma'am, go ahead.
To your mind, ma'am, ano po bang tamang pananamit namin dapat?
Sagutin natin yan, ha? Okay. Before I actually expound on that, let me now ask you in terms of value. Remember, like we have been mentioning about the visual aspect, the vocal aspect. What value, what values are we actually sending out or giving to clients? Meaning, in terms of image, what kind of image do you want to project? Or in other words, how do you want to be perceived by clients? In my mind, when I actually think of our profession, of your profession in particular, of course, I want people to be knowledgeable. That's for sure, right? Because we are talking of numbers here, and as a taxpayer, nobody wants to overpay, right? So we love the Philippines, and we pay what is due our part, but never to overpay. So that's one, knowledgeable. Number two, I want my professional to be highly respectable. So he or she should actually have a particular presence that would say such. And of course, number three, I don't want her or him to actually be very threatening. So in other words, I would want a partnership that's long-lasting, meaning something that would go not just for a year, but that would go on and on and on for so many years as long as I still have the business. So in other words, the person has to appear friendly, right? So professional, friendly, knowledgeable. That's my personal take on the profession. But throwing it back to ACPAP, and since all of you are here today, what kind of impressions or image would you like to project? Because that would determine the level of dress. And remember, ma'am, as I mentioned earlier, we have an annual convention coming up, and my very first question earlier was, do we have fast internet access? Because being linked with IITTI, which is the ISO of image for individuals worldwide, we can do this at an annual convention type of gathering, provided there's internet access. And knowing the details of the levels of business dress, there's actually three. The most casual or the most friendly of all is what we call casual business. And earlier, assessing the majority, that's what I see, which is casual business. Level up a little bit more, the middle segment, that's what we call semi-formal. Semi-formal is when one is wearing unmatched business suit. Unmatched. Okay, so by unmatched, I mean it could be lighter bottoms, darker top, or vice versa. Unmatched business suit, but still there's a coat, there's a blazer, so that's one. And the highest level of business dress is always the matched business suit. And we usually see this in high-profile industries, like when you're an investment banker, or when you're in the hospitality industry, when you are wearing a particular uniform, that you are representing the organization, and that you need to really stand out in that particular field, then in that case, we have to honor the highest level of business dress. I hope that answers.
Wearing something
Printed.
printed. Is it? Because I'm not wearing any print. So, minus one.
No, don't think of it that way, that it's a -1 or a 1 less, but rather we just don't count it as 2 points. Why do we say so? Because in prints, talking of fabrics, there are many ways in terms of like freedom of choice, A to Z of prints and fabrics. Like some people, I gravitate towards animal print, right? And some people could gravitate towards geometric prints or like or paisley or floral, because that is their basic inclination. But it doesn't mean that just because we are in a business environment, we cannot. You can. But a lot of times, we wear it in moderation. Meaning, if we love prints, I don't think we will be wearing like animal print like suit, like matching top and bottom. That would be too much. That would be too much leopard print or too much tiger print, right? But maybe in accent, like in my case today, it's a shawl. But to make it more formal, it could be a little scarf. Or if not, it could be a handbag. Or it could be a pair of shoes, or it could be an accessory. Or some people actually accessorize or accentuate the way they look by choosing an accent color. And for men, may I suggest something? If you happen to be wearing a tie, and I know some of the gentlemen here are actually wearing ties. So if you happen to be wearing a tie, please make sure to add one particular color in your list of ties. And that is actually the power color, red. Red. Power color. So, red print, okay, in that case. Thank you, thank you. Anyone else for questions? 2 more questions? Merong show na how do I look, di ba? But you know, like looking at that, sir, may we use you as an example, because that is actually an excellent way to learn. Let's forget for a while that this is actually a table napkin, right? Think for a moment, imagine, from red, okay, from the original color, which is, it looks bluish gray in my eyes. Okay, so there. With small prints, okay? So in terms of scale, small prints. 2, a stronger color, more dominant, right? Does it make our gentleman look younger? Yes! More vibrant? Yes! Brighter? Yes! Wow, so yes and yes. That means in terms of color analysis, this is actually a much better color compared to the original tie, because you answered yes, yes, and yes to my 3 screening questions, right? So that's one way of actually knowing if a color is for you or not. Just wear it close to your face, under the neck, di ba? So kung nag-fit tayo ng clothes, you can wear it under your chin, under your neck, just to show. If it makes you look more vibrant, if it makes you look brighter, younger, that means yes. If it makes you look sickly, if it makes you look dull, if it makes you look pale, that means you can forget about it, the color. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, my question is about the shoes naman. So for us, kasi I remember you mentioned about comfort, no? Diba? It's always
Comfort, yes.
parang we envy those wearing stilettos, but we just
Wow.
can't. We just can't wear stilettos, no? For us, professionals, accountants, what do you suggest or what do you recommend? Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, you know, like I admire this group so much. You know why? The questions that you've all been asking so far all relate to the ET Business Level 1. So that means it's an upgrade, no? Perhaps in the future, it's something that we can consider doing in full length. But to answer that, okay, there are many ways of looking at footwear. Apart from mentioning earlier what we mentioned, which is of course comfort. Number two, not just comfort, but you have to be able to, part of comfort is being able to walk on it because ang ganda nga ng shoes, hindi ka naman makalakad, so what's the point, right? But on the other hand, we can also relate, especially to women who would say, you know, like stilettos are meant to be for women. And if I'm not going to wear it today, when do I wear it? When I'm 80? So that could be a question. So to make it simple, when we do attend events, somehow we manage to wear the highest of shoes, right? Provided it's within reason and it is safe to do so. And usually when we do that, how do we manage doing it? We don't wear it while driving a vehicle, that would break the shoe. But definitely we bring it until the time that we're literally exiting the car, that's when we wear it. And pretty much the same way after the event, we change back to a more comfortable pair of shoes. But in the practice of our profession, one might say, that is crazy because are we expected to actually bring several pairs of shoes? A lot of women would say yes because, and I agree with you because at the trunk of our car would mean we have extra sets of clothes, we have an extra blazer or so, we have our little black dress, we have our gym clothes, we have what? We have extra footwear, extra makeup, and what have you. Everything that we have in the house in little forms or in duplicates. But then again, going back to the professional side of things, if we want to look professionals, and if we want to look highly respectable in the business, you know, at the very least, wearing a 2-inch closed shoe or a 2-inch peep-toe pumps, I think would be reasonable enough. Because depending on the height, 2 inches is a respectable height. Meaning it won't break your leg, but at the same time, it would give us, you know, like enough presence and power. But of course, that's just for us. But if we want to really level up to global standards as per ET Business Level 1 dress would say, and would spell that for women, the kind of professional shoe would always and forever will be 3 inches. So 3 inches, you now have a choice. What type of 3-inch shoe would be most professional? It would be the closed pumps. Pero closed pumps, like when you wear it for 8 hours, ouch. If it's the pointed closed pumps, masakit sa toes. For the men, I don't know if you can relate, but if not, you can just look at the women's toes and perhaps empathize a bit if you have spouses and all. Masakit siya sa paa, no? Masakit siya sa paa. So, to ease off on it, we, in our industry and in this country, we allow peep-toe pumps. But then again, if we're answering a global exam, and we are asked a question such as, in the tropics, women who do professional business must wear the following, and then it shows you 4 different pictures of shoes. You choose the one that's 3 inches, that's closed pump, because you want to pass the exams. Because that's actually a global standard. So, what's the point here? The reason why we have standards is because we did not create those standards. We abide by those standards because we want to be able to speak the same language so that the moment we exit Philippine territory and soil, the moment we go for global conferences, conventions and all, we are still at par with our international colleagues. Classic case like name tags. How do you wear name tags? Where do you place them? Left, right, top, middle, bottom, where do you place it? So, the little things like this will actually make or break a professional. So with that, maraming salamat po and have a great day. Thank you.
Ms. Tan, on behalf of the ACPAP officers and members, I would like to sincerely thank you for coming and enriching us with your lecture today. Please allow us to confer to you a simple token of appreciation, and I would like to call on President Barbie, the Meetings and Programs Director Chris Perareza, who is in charge of all ACPAP's general membership meetings, and Board of Trustee, Ms. Minette Amin. The citation reads, the Association of Certified Public Accountants in Public Practice present this plaque of appreciation to Ms. Carolina Ditan, President, Enhance Your Image Training Consultancy. In appreciation of her invaluable contribution as guest speaker during the second general membership meeting given this 24th day of April 2018 at Gallardo, Makati Diamond Residences, Legazpi Street, Legazpi Village, Makati. Signed by Attorney Arminda Akyatan Guerrero, ACPAP National President, and Christopher M. Ferrareza, ACPAP Meetings and Programs Director. Thank you very much.